snow. Give these here some place to go. Grab a stack of rock with Mike and the Mad Metal Man. Grab a stack of rock and hold on tight as hard as you can. Keyboard's here, it's time for a party. And Chris has got the comment started. Grab a stack of rock with Mike and the Mad Metal Man. Grab a stack of rock and hold on tight as hard as you can. Grab a stack of rock. Grab a stack of rock.
Hey, it's Mike. Welcome to Grab a Stack of Rock. If you're new here, my name is Mike. I am from Canada, and I spent 12 years on the front lines managing a record store in the 90s and early 2000s. Sort of like the end of the glory days of CD and the ushering in of Napster. When I talk about dollar value, which I rarely do, I'm always talking in Canadian dollars and speaking from my retail experience back then. So welcome to the show. This is Grab a Stack of Rock, where we literally grab stacks of rock and show them off to you, the viewer, the rock fan. So, grabbing my Canadian content, Pop Shop Orange. There we go. And let's dig in to today's stack of rock. Now, last time I did this, I called it Too Much Music, because when I went through that stack of rock, I realized how many discs I had not listened to yet, which is an indication that maybe I do own too much music. You can be the judge. There's some unlistened stuff in this pack that we're about to go through. So, without further ado, first up, ZZ Top, live from Texas. This is a live album from 2008. My beautiful wife, Jen, she just likes to pick me up surprises and surprise me with music from groups that she knows I like. And this was a gift from her. Remember there being a weird kind of outro here, an unlisted bonus track about a dollar store. Good album. Next, I have a few discs by The Who. I always go for the remasters. Here's the soundtrack to The Kids Are All Right. There's your track list right there. Why do I go for remasters? Generally, in general, not always, but generally, they have better liner notes and packaging and bonus tracks. Now, I'm led to believe that some of these Who remasters were actually remixed, but I'm not knowledgeable enough about such things. This is a great single disc compilation. You know what? Back to this one real quick. This has, in my opinion, the definitive version of A Quick One While He's Away. It's the same one that was used in the movie Rushmore. Definitive version of that song, A Quick One While He's Away. This is a good single disc compilation. This is from 1996, and it has, you know, a couple of goodies for the collector, such as an edit version of Who Are You, and an not extended, but a full-length version of You Better You Bet, which I love. You Better You Bet. That's a great song. Good cover art. And that was replaced at retail with this compilation from sometime in the early 2000s. I can't make it, so I got to do this. 2004. The Who, Then and Now, 64 to 2004. There you go. And it had two new songs, Real Good Looking Boy and Old Red Wine. And Real Good Looking Boy is one of my favorite Who songs ever. You know, it's kind of autobiographical about Pete Townsend. I really like this compilation. I don't know if these tracks, Old Red Wine and Real Good Looking Boy, I don't know if they've been reissued anywhere else. Probably have, but that's where I first heard them. Here's another good compilation. This is a rainbow anthology. Everything from the not everything, sorry, I misspoke, but going from the first Rainbow album to the end of the road with Jolene Turner before the reunion in the 90s. There's the back cover for you. quality product. Some live tracks on here, and without looking and telling you where they're from, I can tell you that one of them is previously unreleased, Will You Love Me Tomorrow. The other live songs are Catch the Rainbow and Kill the King, which I'm guessing are from On Stage, and at the end, Stranded and All Night Long, which might have been from B-sides. Now here's the first disc in our pile that I've never listened to. Coke Machine Glow by Gord Downie, rest in peace, of the Tragically Hip. I really love his solo album Secret Path, but I've never listened to anything else of his solo. I've been told this is very weird and experimental. This was a gift from Aaron of the KMA. It's a neat little pencil sketch of Gord right there. Gift from Aaron of the KMA. And sorry, Aaron, I haven't listened to it. I've heard it's really weird and experimental, and I just, as you'll see, haven't gotten around to it yet. Just like a lot of these. Here's another great compilation. Pink Floyd Echoes. This is one of my favorite discs to listen to when I'm in a Floyd mood. There's so much good stuff on here. Echoes itself, Astronomy Domine, or Domine, however you say it. Another Brick in the Wall, Hey You, Great Gig in the Sky, Set the Controls to the Heart of the Sun, Money, Keep Talking, quite like that one. Shine On You Crazy Diamond. Oh, there's so much good stuff here. This was where I got into Floyd. This was 2001? No. 2001. That was my jumping off point. That was where I got into Floyd for the first time. Right here. So that says something about it. Fletcher Memorial Home was a real eye-opener for me. I had no idea that Pink Floyd had music that powerful. And when the Tigers broke free, I believe at the time, this might have been the first CD release of it. Now, I have talked about how much I hate Record Store Day. Several years ago, I paid James from the Keeps Me Alive a lot of money to have sent to me the vinyl copy of Live from the AstroTurf by Alice Cooper, which admittedly it's pretty deluxe. It comes with a huge booklet. It's in all different colors of vinyl. I have pink. But a little bit later on, in 2022, they reissued it on CD and Blu-ray with one extra song. Yeah. Uh-huh. I hate when they do that, but you can almost always count on a Record Store Day release coming out as a regular release at some point. This is a reunion of the original lineup of the Alice Cooper group, with the exception, of course, of the late Glenn Buxton, and he was replaced on that by Ryan Roxie of the current Alice Cooper group. And Chuck Garrick also plays harmonica on School's Out. There you go, for fans of the original Alice Cooper group. And Mike Bruce, the lead guitar player, sings on Caught in a Dream. Not Alice, Mike Bruce. And here's the sticker that came with that CD. It's hard for you to read, so I'll read it. The 2015 reunion show for the first time on CD with award-winning documentary on the Blu-ray. Guess what? I haven't gotten around to watching the Blu-ray yet. Here's another album I haven't given enough attention to. An Hour Before... I had to look on the side to see the title. An Hour Before the Dark by Marillion. I love the cover art. I haven't been into Marillion since Marbles. That was the last one that I was passionate about, the Marbles album. Couldn't get into Somewhere Else. Couldn't get into the 2 CD set that followed it. Couldn't get into Fear. I don't remember any of the songs from this one. Sounds That Can't Be Made wasn't bad. I do like a lot of Sounds That Can't Be Made. But here it is, An Hour Before It's Late. It's 2 discs. And why is it 2 discs? The DVD. There you go. Sorry, Marillion. I used to really love this band. But I think there's a lot of sameness to their more recent albums since Marbles. A Japanese import. You can get Japanese imports on Amazon very cheaply now for some reason. Some of them, anyway. The ones that they do carry. They're not expensive. Debut Boston. This was my first time buying it. I got it after, I think it was Brent Jensen was on our show back in the LeBrain Train days. Or it could have been from an episode of his show, Thursday Night Record Club. I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was Brent Jensen that inspired this purchase. And far too late. Far too late. I kept on putting it off like, oh, you know, if I'm going to buy the first Boston, I should really try to get like a cool edition. And I had my eye on one of those, 24 karat gold CDs. Remember those? And couldn't find one in condition that would satisfy me. So I went for that. And that is cool. I have a lot of compilations in this stack. Here's 2. Sting, Fields of Gold, great compilation, and Police, Every Breath You Take. This was a mid-90s one with a new classic rock mix of Message in a Bottle. I don't remember much about it, but this was better than the later one that replaced it that had P. Diddy on it. And this one here also has, this is a reissue as well, and this one has a bonus track as well, the Portuguese version of Fragile. Yeah. This one is not a compilation. This is a little-known live album that you should probably know more about. Poison, 7 Days Live. Now, before you scoff, that's not C.C. DeVille on guitar down there. No, that is Richie Kotzen. And this is from the Native Tongue Tour, and it has quite a few of those songs, as well as Poison classics. And let me tell you, this is a heck of a lot better than the live albums that they've done with C.C. DeVille. This is a great little live album. 7 Days Live, Poison. If you can find a copy, grab it. There was a DVD as well, but I've yet to see that in person anyway. Okay, next up, some independent music from the Kitchener-Waterloo area. First, Rob Zabo, local singer-songwriter, had this band called Marigold, and this is their EP Bunt. That's the front cover, which is the back. And here's the back cover, which is the front. I grew up with Rob Zabo. And he is an extremely talented guitar player and singer. And this is another one of his bands, Plasticine. This is the band that followed Marigold. And I have played on my show before the track Bones and Clothes. So if you go back to some of our past episodes, there was one that I did with, I believe it was Jex Russell at the beginning of March. It was the Easter episode with Jex Russell. I believe we played Bones and Clothes on that show. It sounds like Motorhead. But that's not what they sound that like. They're more indie rock. And another Marigold benefit of the doubt. It's pretty wild to see, a guy that you grew up with on national television playing music, which he did. Remember Canadians out there? What was that guy's name? The bald guy that had his late night talk show. Mike Bullard. Rob Zabo played on the Mike Bullard show. Here's an album I absolutely love from 2022. Ghosts Impura. As they've grown, they've gotten more pop and less metal. I know there's a huge debate about they're not metal. I don't give a fuck. I don't listen to genres, as you can tell. I just listen to music I like. I really don't care about genres. But this is, at some points, very Def Leppard-y and very weird at some points. I'm thinking of the song 20s. It's emotional. It's got power. I love it. It's melodic. Speaking of genres, here's something completely different. Miles Davis's Jack Johnson tribute. This is a fantastic reissue of a very dense album. 2 tracks. Here's the lineup of the band. Miles on trumpet, Steve Grossman on soprano sax, Herbie Hancock on organ, John McLaughlin on guitar, Michael Henderson on electric bass, and Billy Cobham on drums. This is from his jazz rock fusion period. There you go. Awesome reissue. These CBS Columbia reissues with the discs that look like that. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic. Here's another Miles. This one, another Japanese import. it was recommended to me by author Robert Lawson that I should go for this album as my next Miles. And I like it. I like it a lot. And speaking of Robert Lawson, you can kind of see his book about the Guess Who right there. There you go. Again, a Japanese import that was cheap on Amazon, so why not? Dare I say why not? And I was obviously, you know what? I might have been collecting these CDs from when I was doing a jazz show with Robert Lawson, because some of these made my jazz list. Believe this was my late mother-in-law's CD, the Louis Armstrong All-Time Greatest Hits, 1994. But this one came because Uncle Meat played a song at Sausage Fest one year. I think it was around midnight. I can't remember for sure. Might have been Well You Needn't. This is a fantastic album. This is probably my favorite jazz album of all time. Probably. Herbie Hancock piano, Ron Carter bass, Wynton Marsalis trumpet, Tony Williams drums. I'm not knowledgeable about jazz. I can't speak to jazz the way that Robert Lawson and some of these other guys can, but I know what I like, and when I hit play on that, I like it. I prefer instrumental jazz. Next up, a whole whack of Deep Purple and another bunch of things that I've not listened to yet. They did these Deep Purple live reissues of largely things that had been released before in these cheapo packages. And they limited it and numbered it. And I bought it. But they numbered it on a sticker on the wrapper, which really sucks. That really sucks. And that's probably one reason why I haven't opened these other ones yet. This is 2019 Adele. This one I have played, obviously. Mastered in 2019. I am certain that this show was released as something else in the past, but I can't remember. I mean, the Deep Purple live album tree is it's a tangled mess. This one has definitely been released elsewhere, Newcastle. Trying to get a good picture of the track listing, but this is previously released in a box set, a 12 CD box set of Deep Purple bootlegs from that tour, Australia and Japan, and you can tell because Jimmy Barnes is on 2 tracks. Now these tapes have been remastered, remixed, whatever. This one here says mixed and mastered in April 2021, meaning it's a different version from the previous Hammersmith Apollo London. You know, oh my God. They finally got to printing the numbers on the back. But again, it says previously unreleased on here. So I might be wrong for the first time on CD. I might be wrong. In fact, I am wrong. Maybe I should read this one here too. Very rare live recording. Only 2,000 copies. It says on the back 20,000. Okay. And another one I have not opened, Deep Purple Bombay Calling. I have another copy of this on a 2 DVD set, and I also have an iTunes download of the full show. This is missing the audio of Fireball, and I don't know why. It's also numbered, as you can see, out of 10,000. I don't know why Fireball was excluded from this version. No idea whatsoever. I don't really want to open it. There's no reason to, since I already have the iTunes download of the entire show, plus the 2 DVD set elsewhere. Live in 1995, very early Steve Morse stuff here. They played Perpendicular Waltz, but it hadn't been released yet. It was new. All right, next. A tribute album. First time we've seen a tribute album here. And this one was out because we interviewed Andy Curran on the LeBrain train. And Andy Curran covers one of the Neil Young tracks on here. He does Cinnamon Girl. And I also owned it because Blue Rodeo are on here with I've Been Waiting for You. Big Sugar. Where You Dance, I Can Really Love. I don't know a lot of these songs, honestly. We have Sky Diggers. Barney Bentall, Our Lady Peace with Needle and the Damage Done. Junkhouse doing Fucking Up. Philosopher Kings doing Coupe de Ville. Head doing Look Out for My Love. It's a Canadian compilation. That's why Andy Curran's on there. We got Randy Bachman doing The Loner. Wild Tea and the Spirit doing Down by the River. Mystery Machine doing Southern Man. And then there is Art Bergman and One Free Fall doing Prisoners of Rock and Roll. There were 2 Neil Young tribute albums. This is the electric one called Into the Blue. There was an acoustic one as well, which I do not have. Speaking of Andy Curran, this has been recently reissued. This is a self-titled album, but people call it the No Tattoos album. The new reissue is called Whiskey and the Devil. And it's a vinyl reissue with a whole bunch of bonus tracks. All I have is the original. Why are most of my discs upside down in the case? Isn't that interesting and weird? On Alert Records. Great album. Absolutely fantastic. I can't say enough good stuff about Andy Curran as a human being either. He's fantastic. Some more Coney Hatch featuring Andy Curran. This is their final album, Friction, which is my favorite. Produced by Max Norman. They don't like this album cover. I do. This is the Rock Candy reissue, obviously. Let's take a closer look at that album cover. I don't know. Friction. It's simple. It's colorful. It's eye-catching. Andy only sings one song on this one because they were going for a more commercial direction. So Carl Dixon sings the other 9 songs. Out of Hand, Coney Hatch's second album. With bonus tracks, 3 bonus tracks. Nobody Gives You, Your Kind of Love, and Fly On Demo. There you go. And I'm sure you're shocked to see the debut Coney Hatch here as well. Rock Candy reissue with bonus tracks. Bonus tracks are Dreamland, Where I Draw the Line, and Sin After Sin demo. Produced by Kim Mitchell. Really striking artwork. Fantastic album. You can't go wrong with any Coney Hatch. The only one that I am missing is Coney Hatch 4. Another one that has not been opened. The Beach Boys, Sounds of Summer. Should really open this, shouldn't I? This one, again, it came out of my late mother-in-law's collection. 30 tracks and a coffee stain. Aha. The Scorpions, Live Bites. This is a Columbia House version. This is my original copy. I think I have a Japanese version here with bonus tracks as well. But it's the kind of thing where you need 2 copies of the album to get all of the tracks. There were 3 new studio tracks on here. White Dove, Heroes Don't Cry, and Edge of Time. I really like Edge of Time. Opinions may vary. I believe Edge of Time dates back to the Savage Amusement era. I think there was a demo on the Savage Amusement Deluxe that was an earlier version before it was called Edge of Time. More Canadian content. Now, I do have the original of this, and it's one of the rarest CDs that I own. But this is the reissue of the Tea Party's self-titled debut with a bonus remix disc. They remixed the album. Well, they call it remastered, but I believe it was remixed, because really, why would you not? 2 bonus tracks, Solomon's Blues and Pie Dog on the Prowl from 2021. This is originally released in 1990, I believe. More Canadian content, Slash Puppet. Their stuff is hard to come by. They did a demo tape in 1989, just called The Demo. They reissued that demo on CD, calling it something else. And they also did an EP They called it No Strings Attached. And I believe they had their EP was self-titled. And then they finally put out this greatest hits compilation. Highly in demand. You can get this off of lead singer Miff. You can find him on Facebook. They were an indie Toronto band. They were hailed as the next big thing, and maybe they should have been. They kind of sounded like a cross between Motorhead and Faster Pussycat. And this has a bonus track on it, a live, unreleased version of a song called Stranger Danger, which I think is one of the best things they've ever done. It's like heavy as hell. More Canadian content. Oh, yeah. 4 by Slick Toxic, featuring Nick Walsh. I talked to him with Deke on Scotch on the Rocks back in the day, which is one reason why I got all these discs out. Their very first EP, Smooth and Deadly. This is 1991. Yep, Capitol Records. Nick Walsh was born to be a rock star. And he had the pipes. He still has the pipes. This guy. Big Fucking Deal was the name of the first track. And, bands like Slick Toxic and Killer Dwarfs that were kind of doing the indie thing both put out songs about getting signed. Big Fucking Deal was the one on this album, on this EP, and Killer Dwarfs had a song called We Stand Alone on their album Big Deal. And the debut album, Doing the Nasty, which refers to, puking in the toilet, doing the nasty. Great album, but even better was the second one, Irrelevant. Because by this time, unfortunately, commercially speaking, Slick Toxic were indeed irrelevant. And they put this album out, and there's this... Give me, what's it called? I Want a Gun. I want a fucking gun to blow my manager away. Kill his ass to make my fucking day. Like, they were angry. And they even covered EMI. And the reason I own 2 is because they have different track listings. This one has the demo of White Lies, Black Truth from 1989. And I think it's missing something. I think it's missing EMI in exchange. Yeah, it is. It's missing EMI, but has the demo instead. So that's why I have both. And they're complimentary, and I like that. That's cool. That would make a good thumbnail. Okay. Moving on. Don't want an avalanche like we did last time. There we go. I'm going to fix that. Don't worry. Moving on. Another rock candy. John Norm's Out of Control. I just did a neat little trick here with the wrapper. It has been listened to and loved. This has a lot of bonus tracks. It has Wild One, the Thin Lizzy cover, and the entire Live in Stockholm EP. John Norm being from the band Europe, of course, The Final Countdown. And he does on here Back on the Streets. That song that Vinnie Vincent recorded, Ace Frehley recorded. Yeah, very cool. And finally from this stack, we have the Scorpions Deluxe Edition of Crazy World. Not my favorite Scorpions album, but here's the weird thing. It does have these bonus tracks, but the bonus DVD does not work. I've heard this from multiple people. The bonus DVD does not read in any player. There might be a way to see about getting a replacement. The bonus tracks are the Spanish and Russian versions of Wind of Change. Those come from singles. Big City Nights, the live B-side. Holiday, the live B-side. And Hit Between the Eyes, live B-side. Although, if I'm not mistaken, the music video for Hit Between the Eyes was live. And I think it's probably the same track. That was from a Mick Jagger movie called Free Jack, that music video. Okay, I'm going to grab another stack here. And we'll see what else we have. Now this stack is mostly here to irritate Roger Sarasis, and we'll see why in a moment. First up, a very, very rare 3-inch Enter Sandman CD single. This is from the 2021 reissue, and it's on a black CD. Has different B-sides to the original single of Wolf and Man Live and Bread Fan Live with the studio version of Sad But True. And a little teeny tiny 3-inch. I'm going to try to get this out. 3-inch booklet. Here we go. Little barcode on the, and a sticker. There's the inside. So, of Wolf and Man Live doesn't say where it's from. Oh, no, it does. Stuttgart, Germany, December 1st, 92. There you go. And there's the sticker. I always try to keep the stickers when I can. And these little 3-inch CD cases, you got to make sure you keep them safe and unscuffed, because it's not like you can just put that in a fresh case very easily. More Metallica. Nothing special here. Just the regular edition of the 6 Feet Down Under EP. The first one. Second one's around here somewhere too. Nothing special here. Just the regular 3-disc edition of Hardwired to Self-Destruct by Metallica. And I can't remember very much of this album at all. Yeah, if you held a gun to my head, I could not tell you how a single one of these tracks goes. Which is unfortunate, because I own it. Injustice for All. Now, you may say, hey, what's with the 2 CD edition of Injustice for All there, Mr. Mike? And I'll say, well, every once in a while we would get in our store a promo CD single that had no packaging. Someone would bring it in for trade and it would have no packaging. And I couldn't sell it like this. So I would take it and make my own little 2 CD version of Injustice for All. Likewise, people often say to me, hey Mike, where'd you get those neat colored CD trays for your Metallica discs? And I would say, I just took them off something else. Sometimes we sold colored CD trays, but mostly I would just take them off of something else. This is the version of Kill 'Em All with the bonus tracks Am I Evil and Blitzkrieg, which was extremely rare when I first started at the record store. This was a deleted item when I first started at the record store, and we used to sell it for about $20 used, which was a lot back then. That was a lot. Regular version of Load. Nothing special here, but I will tell you one interesting thing is when this CD came out, it had one of the thickest booklets that I had seen to date. It looks a lot like the Slick Toxic album, doesn't it? The Rorschach test. The Rorschach bloods. This had one of the most thick booklets. And the way we displayed our CDs at the record store was we had an empty copy up front to prevent theft with all of the sealed copies behind the counter along with the CD that went with it. Now, we had listening stations at the record store. So people could come in and listen to the CDs that they wanted to buy. People frequently picked Load. And let me tell you, after only a few listens, the booklets were mangled from people trying to get them back in the case. Mangled. I'm not kidding you. I could not sell that as a new CD anymore. It was absolutely mangled. Fucking monkey hand Metallica fans. And the one that's here specifically for Roger Sarasis. It's Lou Reed and Metallica. Lulu, which he hates and can't believe that I like. But I do. But I do. I can't help it, sir. I just do. This CD single accompanies the 3-inch of the Metallica Enter Sandman. This is a 2021 reissue. Again, has Sad But True, but this time Through the Never and Damage Incorporated from Stuttgart. Same date. Really like that cover. That's the way that it's, the way the logo is. And yeah, these are nice. These came from Germany, if I recall. And the only reason I have these is thanks to a buddy named Jay Iworthy. And thank you, Jay, for alerting me as to the existence of these, enabling me to get them. I am fortunate. I do not know anybody else who has these. So, yeah. Hey, here's a Toronto band that I like a lot. And I'm missing their newest CD. missing their newest 2 CDs. But it's The Beaches. Their albums Late Show and The Professional EP. I like them. I think they're great. Check out their track, which I don't have on CD, but check out Blame Brett on YouTube. It's about Brett from this band, The Glorious Sons. Brett Emmons from The Glorious Sons. This is another great album, by the way. Check out Lightning and check out... what's the other one? There's 2 on here. White Noise. 2 great Canadian bands right here. And the lead singer of The Beaches did date Brett from The Glorious Sons, and that's why Blame Brett exists. Recommended to me by Martin Popoff as one of his favorite King's X songs. I bought the CD single for A Box, which includes a non-LP B-side called Freedom. And, you know, typical of a lot of non-LP B-sides, it's not the best song. It's good, but it's not as good as the A-side, or even Looking for Love, which is also on here. A Box came recommended by Martin Popoff as one of his very favorite King's X tracks. Now, as you know, there's a little band called Guns N' Roses that recently reissued their Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 albums right there. Colored CD trays once more. And they recently reissued them with bonus tracks and a new version of November Rain featuring an orchestra instead of synth. And here's the annoying thing, is I bought the Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 box set. You can see it right up there. You see that? I have that box set. So why did I buy these? Because there's like 6 bonus tracks on each of these that are not on the box set. And how do I feel about that? I call that cheating. That's unfair. That's cheating. I won't tell you what they are, but that's the facts, Jack. Both of these have tracks on the second disc that were not included in that. And I had to hang on to this to have a copy of Use Your Illusion 2 with the original version of it's November Rain's on this one. Which one's November Rain on? It's on the first one. Anyway. Oh, you can also get the original version of November Rain on this. This still has it. Remember when this came out, Axl did not want it released. Oh, here's a funny story. You see the CD there? See how it has all those scratches painted onto the front of the CD? You wouldn't believe how many customers said, "Hey, what are you selling me here? You're selling me a piece of crap that's all scratched up." Yep. Retail. Oh, so many great compilations today. And more Floyd. A collection of great dance songs. This has a new version of Money, if I recall. Had a newly recorded version of Money on it. 6 tracks for a greatest hits. That's Floyd. Cool stuff, though. Great artwork, as always. More Floyd, The Division Bell. Didn't really need it per se. You know, it's not like I'm that big of a Floyd fan. But it's not bad. I like the Gilmore era. Why not? The Art of McCartney. I bought this just for a couple of tracks. It's a Paul McCartney tribute album. And I bought it for Kiss, Alice Cooper, and Def Leppard. Oh, Sammy Hagar's on here too. B.B. King. Alice Cooper does Eleanor Rigby, in case you're wondering. Kiss do Venus and Mars. And Def Leppard do Hell on Wheels. Paul Rogers is on here. Roger Daltrey. Jeff Lynne. Brian Wilson. Harry Connick Jr. Cat Stevens. Hart. Steve Miller. Billy Joel. Bob Dylan. Oh, Joe Elliott from Def Leppard. Decent. Even though I have the Queen Miracle box set, which I've reviewed, I I still have the original CD. I recall there were versions that had fewer bonus tracks as well. This one has 4 bonus tracks. Hang On In There, Chinese Torture, 12-inch version of Invisible Man, and 12-inch version of Scandal. I think the other version was missing Scandal. We looked at Harem Scarum last time we did one of these shows. This is Change the World. I don't know if it's their newest album or if they've put out a newer one since, but this is the Japanese import featuring the bonus track No Man's Land Acoustic. As I complained last time, often the Japanese bonus tracks are just acoustic versions. Yeah. Anyway, Change the World, Harem Scarum. Oh, here's a band we all like very much in Canada, Svengali. This was their 3 EP. 4 tracks. Their first release since 1995. And they got back together with their original producer, David Bendeth, and put this together. And kudos to them. They ended up getting Dan Fila from the band Varga and Sean Williamson from the band Varga on guitar and drums, respectively. Or drums and guitar, respectively. Dan Fila's the drummer. Sean Williamson's the guitar player. There you go. Tony Martin's last album, Thorns, quite good, but it hasn't managed to stick with me. For whatever reason. Hasn't managed to stick with me. Maybe I haven't given it the time it deserves. I remember it being quite good, but perhaps it's not as memorable as I'd hoped. One I've never listened to, Blackmore's Night Winter Carol. 2 CDs of Christmas carols. Let's put that away. I'm just not into Christmas stuff. And finally, for this stack of rock, 2 Four Horsemen releases. This is the reissued version of Getting Pretty Good at Barely Getting By with 3 bonus tracks. 3 bonus tracks. Living These Blues, Keep Your Life, and Hit the Road demos from 1995. This band were just, I guess they just were fated not to make it. They should have. Their first album was produced by Rick Rubin, came out in Deaf American. Second album recorded in Canada. And we have a live DVD, Death Before Suckass by the Four Horsemen, which is completely different from the Death Before Suckass album, live album. Kind of basic packaging, but there you go, the Four Horsemen, a band that really should have made it. Frank C. Starr on lead vocals. He was a remarkable frontman. Really should have made it. And I've got one more CD I'm going to show off, which was one of my holy grails and is still a valuable collectible today. Marillion Rochester. This is a live album recorded in Rochester, New York, but the unique thing about this album is it was only made available to people who donated money to their tour fund to enable them to tour America behind this strange engine in 1998. 7 or 8. And this is a great double live album, one of many that Marillion have, and not the only one from that tour. But this one's unique in that it was only made available to those who donated to the concert fund. And something interesting about these CDs is I can see this one has been painted twice. I don't know why, but I can see the imprint. You can't on the camera. I can clearly see the imprint of this being painted and then painted over again. Or printed, perhaps, would be the right word. Autographed by all 5 guys. This is the first time I've physically touched this booklet in decades. I paid more for this than any other CD in my collection. I paid 300 Canadian dollars in 2001 for this album. I haven't checked on value today, but one of the most expensive CDs, if not the most expensive that I've ever purchased, is Marillion Rochester. There you go. A holy grail, to be sure. Well, that's it for CDs, but there is one more thing I wanted to show off that's music related. Harrison, pay attention. Because a few weeks ago, we bought the Lego ukulele. And this is really cool. This is really cool. This was a lot of fun to build. It was neat because you're not just building top up, but you're also building side to side. I'll show you what I mean. You can see that that's the bottom because that's a Lego bottom. That's what Lego bottoms look like, right? But this is smooth. So if I take this off, this side piece, like so, you can see on the side there's studs all over. So at one point you're building up down, and then this happens and suddenly everything goes side to side, which is how they've managed to have it be smooth on the top, on the sides, and mostly on the bottom as well. Little rubber strings or plastic, whatever, rubbery plastic strings. And the hole here, you can't really see, but those are made of black Lego fenders for little Lego cars. It's neat. Even looks like it has a fretboard. And it came with a little stand here. And the stand is entirely built sideways. There's the stand, smooth on top. And you can see there's the top, the actual top, and there's the actual bottom. And the ukulele just plugs in here on a little Technic pin in a little hole. And it's a nice loose fit, so it's easy to come out, and you can turn it and rotate it any way you like. And then there's an additional flower piece that clips onto the back like so, and you have a really nice display piece that almost looks real. Isn't that nice? So that was what we did a few weeks ago with some of our leftover Christmas money. It's from the Lego Creator Series, so you can build... see, I opened it bottom up. You can build that surfboard or that dolphin as well. But obviously we chose the ukulele. I don't think it'll get taken apart and built into a dolphin. I think it's going to stay a ukulele. And who knows, maybe you'll see it back there. Anyway, that's all we have today on this episode of Grab a Stack of Rock. I'm sure we'll be back next week with something else. But for now, I say adieu. Thank you for watching. And as my buddy Jex Russell